Hollywood has done it again. They've looked at one of John Carpenter's greatest movies. They've looked at one of the greatest anti-heroes ever put on screen. They've looked at Snake Plissken. They've looked at Kurt Russell. And somehow, they've convinced themselves this is a good idea because Escape from New York is getting remade. And if that wasn't worrying enough, wait until you hear who's been handed the keys. Welcome back to Watching Nonsense Unfold. Today we're looking at why Hollywood keeps trying to recreate lightning in a bottle, and why they never seem to understand what made the original special in the first place. Because if there ever was a film that didn't need touching, it was Escape from New York. Now look, this isn't really about Zack Snyder. We'll get to him. This is actually a much bigger problem. It's a Hollywood problem, because modern studios have become obsessed with intellectual property. Every classic film, every successful franchise, every cult favourite gets dragged back out eventually, not because somebody has a brilliant new idea, but because somebody owns the rights. And that's the key difference. Studios look at Escape from New York and see intellectual property. Fans look at Escape from New York and see a movie. They're not the same thing. The studio sees a brand, we see an experience, and that's where the nonsense begins. The biggest mistake Hollywood keeps making is believing iconic characters can simply be transferred from one actor to another. Put somebody else in the costume, give them the dialogue, roll camera, job done. Except that's not how it works. Snake Plissken isn't famous because he wears an eye patch. He's famous because Kurt Russell made him unforgettable. Snake doesn't care about saving the world. He doesn't care about politics. He doesn't care about speeches. He barely cares about surviving. Everybody annoys him. Everything annoys him. And that's exactly why audiences love him. Modern movies constantly try to make characters more heroic, more inspirational, more relatable. Snake isn't interested in any of that. And neither are we. That's what makes him different. That's what makes him memorable. And yet, here we are again, trying to replace him. Even Wyatt Russell has joked that taking over the role would be career suicide. Think about that. Kurt Russell's own son doesn't want the job. That should tell Hollywood everything it needs to know, but apparently not. And here's the thing, it isn't just Kurt Russell. That's the trap Hollywood keeps falling into. They think the character is the magic ingredient. The character isn't the magic ingredient. The entire movie is. Escape from New York has John Carpenter's fingerprints all over it. Every frame, every shot, every piece of music. It isn't just a film, it's a mood, a vibe, a feeling. The movie works because it has Carpenter's DNA running through every scene. The slow pacing, the atmosphere, the silence, the tension, the feeling that the entire world has gone slightly rotten. Most modern directors are terrified of that kind of restraint. Everything has to be louder, bigger, faster, more expensive. Carpenter understood something many modern filmmakers don't. Sometimes less really is more. But it's not just the face of the movie that's changing. The entire soul of Escape from New York is about to be handed to a director whose style sits at the opposite end of the filmmaking spectrum. Enter Zack Snyder. Now, before Snyder fans grab their pitchforks, let's be fair, I like Dawn of the Dead. I think it's probably his strongest film. But when I think of John Carpenter and when I think of Zack Snyder, I don't exactly think of similar filmmaking philosophies. Carpenter is minimalist. Snyder is maximalist. Carpenter whispers. Snyder shouts. Carpenter builds atmosphere. Snyder builds spectacle. They're operating on completely different frequencies. That's why this announcement feels so strange. It's like hiring a heavy metal band to perform a jazz concert. Maybe they'll pull it off, but it's a very odd fit. And this is why I keep coming back to the same question. Why this movie? Why Escape from New York? Why not spend all this money finding the next John Carpenter? Why not invest in original science fiction? Why not create the next cult classic? Because 40 years from now, nobody is going to be talking about a corporate strategy. People will be talking about great movies, the same way we're still talking about Escape from New York. The same way we're still talking about The Thing. The same way we're still talking about Big Trouble in Little China. Those films lasted because they were unique, not because they were brands. Meanwhile, John Carpenter is probably having the time of his life, because while fans argue online and studios hold meetings and executives plan franchises, Carpenter is sitting there collecting executive producer money, and honestly, good for him, he's earned it. Carpenter has always understood something that fans sometimes forget. A remake cannot destroy the original. The original still exists. Nobody can take it away. Snake Plissken is still Snake Plissken. Kurt Russell is still Kurt Russell. And Escape from New York will still be sitting on the shelf exactly where it has always been. The remake might succeed. It might fail. But it will never replace the original. Maybe Zack Snyder surprises everybody. Maybe this becomes the remake nobody expected. Anything is possible. But based on everything we've seen from Hollywood over the last decade, forgive me if I'm skeptical, because Hollywood keeps making the same mistake. They think they can recreate the ingredients, when what they're really chasing is the lightning strike, and lightning doesn't happen twice. What do you think? Am I being unfair? Or is Escape from New York one of those movies that simply shouldn't be touched? And is there anyone alive today who could genuinely replace Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe, and join us for more TV and film nonsense as it continues unfolding before our eyes. And remember, sometimes the problem isn't the remake, it's that Hollywood still doesn't understand the original.